the April 2nd meeting of the Butler County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise for a moment of solemn prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, public comment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The public comment portion of our meeting provides residents and taxpayers of Butler County with the reasonable opportunity to comment on matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before the board prior to taking official action. Presentations must be limited to 3 minutes. The chairman has asked me to remind everyone that no personal attacks on the character or reputation of county employees, department heads, or any official will be tolerated. Any speaker doing so may be ruled out of order by the chair. I'll call the names in the order that they appear on the sign-up sheet, and when you come to the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence. Itzi Metzler.
From Slippery Rock, I'm Itzi Metzler, and no interruptions, please. Asset for asset. Now that we're in the post-Sunnyview era, I'm here to propose how the county should spend its sales proceeds of $20.4 million. A main reason the Commissioners McCary and Pickerton repeatedly gave us for unloading Sunnyview was an estimate of costing the county about $1 million in government center support subsidies, or actually the employees' hours expanded to underwrite the nursing home for 2014, which amounted to about 1/3 of workers' time in such county offices as personnel, controller, and so forth. If the mantra to sell Sunnyview was to save monies, the county is not, I repeat, is not planning to lay off any employees in the aforementioned offices. Then what savings are being realized with the Sunnyview sale other than getting a one-time cash windfall? So here's my advice on how to spend it, the windfall, wisely. Give back to the taxpayers a millage of county taxes, or around $1.7 million, which you imposed upon us last year. It was unjustifiable considering that the county already receives, according to a reliable county source, a 6% yearly increases in revenues, which amounts to $3.75 million more annually because of its strong economic activity and increasing census count. So actually, we have no need to be raising the county's real estate taxes at all in the near future. Next, with the $18.7 million left, you should take around 12.9 or 13 million or so to pay cash for the new office annex, i.e. an asset for an asset, as well as for the air conditioning and roofing upgrades to the government center. However, the county is already discussing getting a loan to pay for the new construction. But since we'll have available cash to pay for the project 100%, then why are you deliberately choosing to get us further into financing debt for it? How asinine is that? Finally, the $5.8 or $6 million left should be put in the county's unrestricted reserves to be used as a cash flow to avoid having to get annual loans, the so-called tax anticipation notes, one which this year amounted to $7.5 million. That was used to give $1.15 million to BC3 that the county gives on a quarterly basis, for a total annual contribution this year of $4.6 million to the college. In fact, last December, the county had to borrow monies it didn't have to give it away to BC3. Go figure that one out. In short, I hope that Butler County doesn't squander more than $20 million on a pension grab or other such waste. But whatever you do, you need to tell us, and soon. I'm Itzi Metzler, and humbly, I thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I'd like to respond to that. I'd like to make the public aware of this. This was, realistically, we sold Sunnyview for $18 million. $2.4 million of that is receivables that the federal government or state government or different agencies owe us. Okay, so actually the money approximate now for this $18 million and 2.4 accounts receivable. So that's not, that's the true statement there. Another thing I'd like to say is Sunnyview lost it last year about $700,000 in actual money, actual dollars. $200,000 more of that was depreciation on the building. I've got bad news for everybody in the county. We are spending and creating jobs at an unprecedented rate. We gave senior citizens got a 1.5% increase. County non-union got 3% increase in their salaries. We also created lots of new jobs here, and we're on a spending spree. The money is gone already. The money, let me make this clear. The 700,000.
You were responding to
Wait.
Issy didn't talk about new jobs or anything like that. You're out of order.
He's talking about money at Sunnyview. I'm not out of order.
Yes, you are.
Money at Sunnyview? Well, I'm gonna keep going. You keep
You're out of
kicking the
order.
gavel. Okay. We
You're out of
approved
order.
those
Next.
jobs and raises. The money
Jim,
is
you're out of
already
order.
gone. Throw me out of the room. And BC3, I'd like to say this.
Sheriff,
BC3 is
you asked him
excellent.
to be quiet.
BC3 is good expenditures for the money, and I never saw any teacher, Itzy Mesley is a teacher at Slippery Rock University, I never saw any teacher that was so against a learning institution as good as BC3, okay? I don't need you telling me when I can respond and when I can't to his conversation. I don't need it, okay?
You got it, whether you need it or
Oh,
not.
well, I'm not getting it, sir. You can't
Be
judge
quiet.
everything I say.
Lori?
That's
Lori?
unconstitutional, okay?
Peggy Abbott.
Have me arrested.
What a jerk.
You're the jerk. Well, you just said, what a jerk. Do you mean yourself or me? Okay, why'd you say that, Bill? Just tell everybody in the audience, what a jerk.
We're
Okay.
conducting a meeting
Who were
here.
you referring to? Okay? I don't need you. I don't need it.
Good.
Morning, Commissioners. First of all, for the job seekers out there, just another reminder, Tuesday, April 9th, from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. will be the Butler Spring Job and Career Fair. The job fair will be held at the Butler Days Inn, which is on Route 8, down there at the McDonald's and across from the Burger King. Second, for our younger residents, Friday, April 11th, from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., our Parks and Recreation Department will be hosting a flashlight Easter egg hunt at Alameda Park. Today is April 2nd. However, if you register before April 4th, the cost is $5. After the April 4th date, the cost will be $7. Contact our park office at 724-284-5383 if you need more information. For our students, also on Friday, April 11th, the Butler Intermediate High School Student Council and the Butler Lions Club will sponsor a basketball game. The Butler Pride team will challenge the Harlem Ambassadors. Tip-off is 7 p.m. at the Butler High School. If you need additional information, call 724-287-8037. Come and enjoy some good basketball and certainly some interesting basketball. Thank you.
Next.
Mark Panitsky.
Hi, Mark.
Commissioners. Okay, I'll try not to say anything too. Okay. One of the things we have, and I've mentioned before to you, was that we have a policy where we have life insurance for all the county employees. I know it doesn't cost that much. I just thought we could maybe do away with that, save a little bit of money there, replace it with a policy where if a county employee does die, the other county employees can maybe donate part of their unused vacation or sick time, whatever, to go to that person to somehow work it out financially. Parking, I've talked about this previously, parking for county employees. I really think the county should rent the parking spaces off the city that's underneath General Butler Bridge, the South Main Street Bridge. They rent this for $20 a space. Might get a deal, rent the whole thing, just rent for county employees. Then some way in the future, maybe take a payroll deduction for that. Sunnyview. Is it possible, since we don't have a retirement home anymore up there, and we're gonna have a new building right over here. Is it possible to close the rest of the buildings up there and bring people down here? I know like Beth Harless come down here from up there from her office, and to sell the rest of that facility. I know there's a problem with the DJ has to be in the township. And that was another thing. Can we go back to one, you make my life simpler, I know that, but can we go back to one DJ for Butler City and Township? I know I talked to Kevin, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I talked to Kevin about that, and he had said if he had additional staff, he could have done it, is what he told me at the time. I know they're the two busiest in the county, I can realize that, so. That's all I got. Hey, have a good morning.
Thank you, Mark.
Glad to hear about your house too, Commissioner.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
That's all for public comment.
Okay.
I was signed in.
I did.
I'm sorry, I don't see it.
Right above me.
I'm sorry, it
You
wasn't
didn't check
marked.
for public comment.
He's welcome to speak, but it wasn't marked.
That was my.
Go ahead.
I'd like to tell people what we did at CCAP Spring Conference. Last week it was held in Harrisburg at the Hilton Hotel. Basically, it stands for, CCAP stands for County Commissioners Association of PA. Each county, there's 67 counties, and basically the majority, there's two majority members and one minority member elected from each party to represent the counties. The counties range from the smallest, which would be Sullivan County, to Montgomery, which is one of the largest at 800,000, and Sullivan 6,500, so there's a big difference. The other counties are there. Some have home rule charter. That would be examples of that would be Allegheny County, Philadelphia County, and Erie County is one of the smaller ones that has that. The chief executives from those counties and their council members, some of them come. Rich Fitzgerald was there from Allegheny County. Those are the main governing bodies. They're the two different ways, home rule charter and the Board of Commissioners. Basically what we do at CCAP is we pick grassroots issues and to lobby and come to a consensus on among the commissioners what our main objective is, or what our main ideals are that we need to put across to the legislator and the governor's office. Also, what we do at CCAP is teaching the commissioners about current issues. Examples of that would be infrastructure problems, ethics problems, rules that we're supposed to follow. They have excellence classes taught by people with hands-on experience. They couldn't do a better job. Then the third thing we do when we go to these is networking on issues. We get to talk to the governor's representatives from his area representatives, and we talk about things like our own things like Blade Run Lake or 911 shortfalls statewide. Monday morning, I started out and I went to the Democratic caucus meeting and ate with breakfast with Rich Fitzgerald and got to talk to him, and we talked about issues that affected the Democrats. That's the Republicans and Democrats have the caucus meeting before the main thing. Then they have the opening general session is next, and they had good speakers there from Barry Scooch, I think was his name, the head of transportation from the governor's office, and then Charles Zogby from the Office of Budget. They gave excellent speeches, and they informed the commissioners on current issues in our state. And then some of the classes I took, just to give people an idea, is how to improve energy efficiency in county buildings, due process for the parents. And
Time is up, sir.
can I have an extension to finish this?
No.
No extension for a county commissioner to finish? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have minutes for March 17th and March 19th meetings. Is there a motion to approve them? Is there a second? I will second it. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
First item under old business, commissioners. This is a housekeeping cleanup type issue. We are asking for the approval of the inspection and testing portion of the geotechnical services contract with Construction Engineering Consultants, Inc. This is for the Magisterial District Justice Office project in Cranberry Township. And for the minutes of the December 4th, 2013 public meeting, this portion of the contract should have been round robin for approval and ratified at the December 18th, 2013 meeting. It was discovered that that was not done, and so at this point, we would like that approval.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No proclamations and certificates for this morning. Moving on to new business. First item under the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mike Sir.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Mike.
Good morning. I'm asking for your approval to get into a contract with BC3 to provide heart saver CPR and first aid to our office in the amount of $930. Normally, I have a first aid CPR instructor in the office, but is unavailable at this time, and we need to get recertified. So we usually save money by having an in-house first aid CPR instructor, but it's just not available right now. So
Okay, I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
I'd
say-
just like to say this, I'm glad BC3 could do it for us, you know, that during this problem.
yeah, there's a lot of assets we have, but BC3 was the quickest we could get this time, because we don't want our people to be out of certification.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike, thanks.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Next, under Court Administration, Tom Holman.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm
Morning, Tom.
here today this morning to ask for your approval of an amendment to our 2006 development user agreement between Butler County and the Cranberry Township for the provision of services for our regional booking center there. This addition, or this amendment to the contract would permit us to help offset some of the costs up to 4 hours a week for an officer who is running the booking center. The funding from this comes from our Fund 23, which is the user fund that means anybody who has a fingerprints or pictures taken through the CPM operating system pays a $100 fee, and we collect that money to use specifically for these costs, no costs related to the regional booking centers. I'm asking for your approval of this amendment.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
The next item under prison, we're asking for the ratification of contract amendment number 2 with Wexford Health Services Incorporated for additional medical personnel to provide inmate health care as recommended by the prison board. Can I ask your approval?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Next, under Human Services, Area Agency on Aging, Beth Harrell.
Morning, Beth.
This morning I'm asking the approval to appoint Timothy D. Sexler and Kathleen Tremay to the AAA Advisory Board for terms effective April 1st, 2014.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Gentlemen, Beth Harrell had also asked if she could make an announcement to the public.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
I'm so excited. I'm going to sit down. We have additional funding at the aging office to provide ramps and home modifications to individuals in the community that are over 60 years old. So we are asking anyone in the community that has a need for a ramp to get out for doctor's appointments, to get out into the community, and please let us know. We have notified area ambulance services, volunteer fire companies, police, and doctor's office, as well as the hospital, to also get the word out. So if you know of an individual in the community that may be having a hard time financially paying for a ramp to be put onto their home, please give us a call at the office at 724-282-3008. At 724-282-3008. We'll send an assessor out and we will assist you in that. It could be covered 100% by our funding, or it could be cost share.
Thanks again.
Beth, I have a question. I live in a 2-story and I'd like to live there when I was older. Would this
You need a
include,
ramp?
not me in particular, but does this include stair lifts or?
Yes,
So
it can be stair lifts, it can be lift chairs, it can be, our main focus right now is ramps, but we can do, that funding will cover stair glides also.
And when you say, well, if you were moderate income, it might cover you depending on what your income level was, they could pay for half. Is
Yes,
that-
or maybe
yeah.
10%, could be
Well,
5%.
Right. It'd
Right.
still enable you maybe if you couldn't afford it to begin it.
Exactly.
And then do you have the people that install it so that people wouldn't?
Yep, you just tell us, and we have a company called Valley Care Home Safe Home that has an occupational therapist that'll come out to your home, assess what the best ramp or the best stair glide is for you, and then they'll oversee the construction, and then they'll get the permits, and then make sure that it passes all the inspections.
Yeah, so they don't have to do it on their own.
Exactly.
Okay, that is terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks again.
Next, under Human Services, Children and Youth Agency, Ann Brown.
Morning, Ann.
Good morning, Commissioners. First thing I have is 2 contracts for children youth juvenile probation for the fiscal year 13-14. There was Bethany Christian Services and 3 Rivers Adoption Council for foster care. Ask your approval of those 2 contracts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, ask your approval of a contract with the Banco International. This is for the Children's Youth Web-based case management data system in the amount of $3,611.11. This is Butler County's share. The costs are being split amongst 54 counties that use this database, and this is the Butler County share. The upgrade, ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then I would ask for the appointment of Manisha Goodwin for a 2-year term to the Drug and Alcohol Advisory Board. She is our student representative.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Next item, under emergency services, Steve Weishaus. And this was an item that was added yesterday to the agenda at Steve's request.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Steve.
Under the Stafford Act, we are required as a county to have a hazard mitigation plan. A hazard mitigation plan is a plan that looks at the vulnerabilities in the county, historical data, flooding, tornadoes, things like that, and helps the county and the municipalities to prepare in the future for future disaster. So that plan is required to be updated every 5 years. Last time it was updated was 2009. So we're in the process, and I'd like your approval to apply for a grant through the federal government and through FEMA in the amount of $41,000, of which $30,750 would be absorbed by the federal government, $9,020 would be absorbed by the state, and the county would be responsible for $1,230 to help develop this plan. So I'm going to ask for your approval on that.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Steve, the grant is for $41,000, you say?
Yes.
And that covers?
That covers
$1,000.
That covers the cost of a consultant and an expert who would come in and assist us to do this, this revision of the plan. You know, we work with my department, the planning department, any departments in the county that would be impacted by mapping would be a prime example that we utilize them, look at historical data, look at changes over the past 5 years in the county, whether it would be industrial, whether it would be changes to waterways, things like that, and develop a plan. Put it out to the municipalities, and typically what happens is the municipalities adopt the plan, the county plan.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioners, as part of this approval, I'd like to note that you are adopting Resolution 2014-09, which is a designation of agent. It's a certification that is included with Steve's submission of this grant to the state.
Okay.
Under Commissioners, the first item, we're asking your approval to appoint Joan Whalen from the South Butler Community Library to the Butler County Federated Library System Board for a term ending December 31st, 2016. She's replacing Heidi Holden. We ask your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, we would like your approval to reappoint David Baum to the Butler County General Authority for a 5-year term expiring January 1st, 2019. May we have your approval?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? I will second it. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we're seeking your approval to write off an outstanding receivable from the Sheriff's Office in the amount of $3,991. We ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion?
Discussion, I don't think, look, it's not my duty here as a county commissioner. This totals, I think, Ben Holland, was that 5,900? What was this amount? 3,000. Say it again?
$3,900.
This amount of, sorry about that, I got it mixed up with another figure, 3,900. Look, my job as county commissioner isn't affixing blame. There was a $3,900 shortfall. We had problems with the sheriff's office. You know, I'm no way in fixing blame here, but I think it's our job. There was a shortfall. We should at least bill him and see what he says. Okay, I think Mike did an excellent job of working this problem out. I'm not here. I think that's my job. You know, this has happened. there's precedent in the county for if there were shortfalls for row officers before. There's county precedent on this, not just to sweep it under the rug. So my belief on this is we should send it to them and have them discuss it with us and talk about the bill, okay? That's what I think. There was a lot of money at stake here, and it came down to $3,900. I'd be glad to hear his explanation, not in a mean way, but that's our job, to find out what the problem was and get to the bottom of it, okay?
Okay, any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Next item, we're asking for your ratification of an addition to scope to the existing contract with Pedersen and Pedersen to prepare additional documentation known as a Component 3 Planning Module. This is required by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, and it relates to the Magisterial District Justice Office project in Cranberry Township. The amount of the fee for the additional scope is $1,275. We ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. I'd like to discuss this.
Okay.
I mean, this just goes to show you, we're building a simple office. We have to pay $1,300 to have some study done on, we're talking a simple magisterial office with maybe 4 workers in it and this just goes to show you, the public, what we have to deal with. I mean, how many people are using a commode with 4 people in the office and they're doing a commode study? I mean, it's just one thing after the other like this. It's just ridiculous. When I saw this, it's just one thing after the other, DEP. It's one thing if it was a big factory or something, maybe, 40 people work there. 4 people, you gotta be kidding me. Thank you very much.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we're asking for action related to the proposed T-hanger construction at the Butler County Airport. Whereas the county commissioners of the county of Butler have determined that it is in the best interest of the county for the county to guarantee a loan from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Bank to the Butler County Airport Authority in the amount of $500,000, with the county's responsibility for any financial obligations under any provision of the said loan to be limited to the amount of the county's annual liquid fuels tax fund allocation for any given year. The Butler County Board of Commissioners does hereby authorize the county's chief clerk and solicitor to take such actions as may be required to prepare the necessary documents as required by the Local Government Unit Debt Act to obtain approval for said loan guarantee and to enter into same, including, without limitation, the publishing of all required notices and the drafting of required ordinances or resolutions, the preparation of a debt statement and borrowing base certificate. We ask your approval.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for not making me say that again.
Motion to approve the budgetary transfers.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the new hires?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the travel requests.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the requisitions.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the check register.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Kayla,
No questions right now, thank you.
Tom,
I have a few, thank you. Commissioner McCary, what's your response to Commissioner Eckstein saying because of a, quote, spending spree, the county is out of money?
well, that's the reason that I said he was out of order, because first of all, it had nothing to do with what Itzy was talking about. Dr. Messley was talking about how we should spend that money. The county is not out of money. We are not on a spending spree. We are not hiring employees at an unprecedented rate. That's my response.
Do you still see the need, though, for a loan to fund the entire cost of the project?
That has not been discussed yet. There's several ways to look at this, and again, I appreciate Dr. Messley's input. We are going to confer with the person who's doing our bond counsel. They have division of their company which helps counties in planning, financing. Now, there's different ways to look at what we can do with that money. For instance, if I'm just throwing things out, we can get a bond issue for 3 or 4% to finance a new building. If we would put that money into our retirement or a pension program, which is earning 7 or 8%, we would be making money by doing that. Our pension fund is a part of the debt. Under GASB's standards, whatever we lack in funding in our pension fund, which is higher than most counties, but we're still not 100% funded. So if the money were to go there, we would be making money versus, we would be making the 7% versus spending the 3 or 4% on interest on a bond issue. And that's just an idea. That's not official or anything. That's just one of the ideas that we had.
Commissioner Eckstein?
There's a difference of opinion right there. He said we'd be earning 7%. There's no guarantee with the stock market, okay? It's very risky. You know, there's no guarantee at all. But for me to say that he shouldn't speak and have his point about it, the guaranteed 7% is really outright wrong. Okay, that is no, I agree that we should pay, use the money for the new building, okay? That is a guaranteed 4%. And we certainly aren't getting that in the stock market, in the bond department, or the fixed. So would I be very happy to have fixed rates, instead of us paying somebody 4%, that we get that back to the county. It's a sure 4%. We get almost nothing from fixed and nothing from bond right now. It would help us by doing that, okay? And the other thing I'd like to say too is, before I was rudely interrupted and said we were on a spending spree, I meant the $700,000 the deficit from Sunnyview was spent, okay? I meant the $700,000 before I was interrupted. That's $900,000 deficit minus the depreciation of $700,000. That money has been spent. That money from that has been spent. There is no money there. And, you know, I'm sure we got to the end of the year to get rid of the rest of it. I'm a little off, okay? Thank you.
Commissioner McCarrier, has the county had a chance yet to analyze, since the Sunnyview sale's been approved and pending the closing and the state's approval is a done deal, on what the impact will be on the indirect costs? As was mentioned earlier, the cost charged for various government center offices and departments spending time on Sunnyview.
That is one item that Dr. Mesley, one statement he made that is not correct at all. It's not been decided whether or not employees are going to be laid off. In fact, I believe there will be. That's my opinion, and I'm only one.
And Commissioner Eckstein, if I understood you correctly on the outstanding debt being written off, you're referring to the retired official trying to bill him to reimburse the county?
Yeah, Dennis Rickard? Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, yes, Tom. I think that it's our due diligence to bill him. That's what we've done in the past with, and it's not my judgment. You know, that came up as a discrepancy. There was a long study by Ms. Beck did the accounting, and then Mayor Drusel did that, and they came up with that deficit. It's not for me just to blow it off.
Well, how is that not affixing blame?
Huh?
How is that? You said you weren't affixing blame. Aren't you affixing blame for the current past office holder to be responsible or liable for that amount then?
Well, we all make mistakes in our life. I'm not saying there was criminal blame. Well, let me say this. I'm not saying there was deliberate criminal action. That's what I was referring to. Jim Eckstein or Dennis Rickard, I respect them. You know, but there could have been a mistake made, and the buck stops here. With the county commissioners and the row officers, we all have a responsibility, our office, and I think he should be held accountable.
Since he is not here to defend himself, his argument had always been a lack of cooperation from a fellow retired row officer. So are you taking one row officer's side over the other, that one is completely responsible for something they couldn't resolve amongst themselves?
Well, I think he should come in and explain it, just like anybody would. I think it's a reasonable thing to do. I know that him and Jack didn't get along, and I certainly don't think that was right, okay? I think they should have worked together for the betterment of the county, even though they have a disagreement like Bill or I have. It's our duty to come together and work for the betterment of the county in general. I disagreed with the infighting there.
Thank you, that's all I had.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?